Hello. So in this lecture, we will be discussing about the tension members. And these are the topics that are likely to be discussed in this lecture. So now, if we talk about the tension member or tension, it actually exists in nature also. So for example, if you look at this spider web, so the existence of this spider web is possible because of the presence of these strings, and these all these strings are in tension. So because of this possibility, the spider web exists and it works in that manner. So we can say that such tension, this tension members, they actually exist in nature also. So when we talk about the tension member, well, tension members are the most common and efficient members in the structural application. Well, why do we say that these are the most efficient? Because if we compare them with another type of member which are called compression member, so we will be discussing about the compression member in the next lecture, but here I would give you a little brief about it. So for example, if say this is a bar, if this is a bar, and if we try to stretch it like this, then bar will elongate and ultimately it will fail by yielding. But if we talk about the compression member, in the compression member, if we try to compress it like this, then the failure, the ideal failure should be like the crushing. So it will compress like this, but at the same time, if we are using the maximum or if we are utilizing the maximum strength of this member, it will be decided on the basis of another parameter which is called the slenderness ratio. So this slenderness ratio is very important when we talk about the compression member. But in case of tension member, slenderness ratio also matter, but it doesn't matter much. We only require to have minimum limits of slenderness ratio so that we can ensure that our member is have minimum stiffness requirement. But in case of compression member, this slenderness ratio has a lot of significance. Well, if we talk about the small member like this, we are compressing it. Similarly, at the same time, if I am talking about the longer member and then we are trying to compress it, well, there are possibility that this smaller member will have less slenderness ratio. It is actually represented by lambda. So it has less lambda, and that is why we are able to use maximum, or we are able to utilize maximum strength of this smaller member. But at the same time, if we are using this member which will be having higher slenderness ratio, then there are chances that when we are compressing it, there may be a buckling, like uh, like this. The member may buckle like this, but now the instant it starts buckling, we can say that we are not able to utilize its maximum strength. So ideal failure should be the crushing, like it should be stressed, I mean it should be compressed as much as possible. Then we can say that we are able to utilize its maximum strength. But that is not the case of tension member. In the tension member, we can stretch it up to its yielding limit, even up to the rupture, up to the ultimate strength we can stretch it, and that is why the strength, I mean the characteristic strength or the yield strength of the steel, it is not reduced. But in case of compression member, we use some reduction factor because of this buckling phenomena, because this buckling exists because of the slenderness ratio. So that is why we say that tension members are the most efficient and optimal. I mean, we can use them optimally. So now coming to the tension member. Now, what are the tension member? Tension members are actually the members which are subjected to direct axial tensile stress or tensile load. So that is the point we need to consider. Tension members are those members which are subjected to direct axial tensile load and which tend to elongate the member. So those are the members we call tension member. And as I said, as I explained earlier, a member in pure tension, can be stressed up to and beyond the yield limit. As I said, that we can use maximum strength of the tension member. We can utilize maximum strength of the tension member. So that is why we say that there is no buckling. There is no buckling that we found in the compression member. So there is no buckling locally or the overall in case of tension member. And that is why these are the most efficient member. And therefore the value, this Fy value, it doesn't reduced. In case of compression member, this Fy value is reduced because of some factor, because of the existence of the buckling. But in case of tension member, we do not reduce this. Yes, but we apply partial safety factor, that is a part of our design method. But in other terms, we do not reduce this Fy value generally. Now coming to the material, well, in our subject the material is steel, and generally there are two types of steel that we use in the construction. One is the mild steel, which is grade Fe410, and another steel is high strength steel. Well, in the diagram you can see, in the mild steel there are clearly defined points of the Fy and Fu. This point is the yield strength point of this mild steel, and this point is the clear indication. Well, referring to this, corresponding to this stress, we call it ultimate stress point, which is Fu. So we have clearly defined Fu value and Fy value in the mild steel, because this mild steel is more ductile, and in the mild steel, the ratio of Fy to Fu, it is around 0.6. But if we talk about the high strength steel, then there you can see there is no clearly defined yield strength point and ultimate strength point, and therefore generally we try to find out the value of Fy. In this case, we try to find out Fy value in this case by using the 0.2% strain, or using the 0.2% proof stress. So I have mentioned this earlier also, that in case of high strength steel, we do not have clearly defined point for the yield strength. So in that case, what we do is we consider 0.2% of the strain, and parallel to this, we bisect a line at the curve, and the point where it cuts, corresponding to this point, we consider as the yield strength of this high strength point. Although in some high strength steel, we may be able to find out the ultimate strength point, but generally in high strength steel, this Fu value is very difficult to define. But in case of mild steel, it is easily defined, and that is why, also one more thing, the distance between Fy and Fu is less in case of high strength steel, and that is why when we see the ratio Fy by Fu, this value may be up to 0.85 or 0.902. So because now we can see one more thing, that if the ratio of Fy by Fu, if it is less, then that material will be more ductile. If this ratio is closer to 1, then we can say that the material is less ductile. In case of tension member, the major requirement is the ductility, because our design is based on this factor, ductility. We will discuss more about it in the later slides. So in the graph, you can clearly see that ductility is higher in case of mild steel, but strength of high strength steel is higher than the strength of mild steel. But as I said, in the tension member, the major requirement is the ductility. So therefore, mild steel will be utilized more effectively than the high strength steel in case of tension member. And that is why most of the time we use this mild steel grade plate Fe410. So most of the time we use this grade of steel in case of tension member design. So in the mild steel, there are large elongation, and in the high strength steel, we can say it is small elongation. Now we will see some typical application of tension member in different types of structure. So you can find that there are some trusses. In the trusses also, we have members which are subjected to direct tension. So like in case of truss member, the lower part, this lower part is subjected to the tension. 99% this lower part, which is called bottom chord. This is called bottom chord also. And similarly, upper parts, they may be subjected to compression or tension, but lower part will always be in the tension. Similarly, if in the steel houses, if we look at these these bracings are also subjected to the tension. So the members that we use in the bracing, they are also considered as a tension member. Sometimes they are called ties. If the members are subjected to compression, they are called struts. And if the members are subjected to the tension, they are called tie member. So most of the time in the problem we can find this word tie. So we will be able to identify that this member will be subjected to tension. Similarly, in some problems we may find this word struts. So struts are directly subjected to the compression. Similarly, in the multi-story building, we use bracing. These bracings are subjected to tension. The another type of building where the floors of buildings are suspended, they are supported with the central core. So these floor may also be supported using the tie. So these tie members, and these are the hangers. So these hangers may be supporting these floors. So all these hangers are in the tension. They are subjected to tension. Similarly, in case of cable straight bridge, all these suspension wire, all these suspension cables, they are subjected to the tension. So cables are also considered as the member which are subjected to the tension only. Similarly, in case of bridge truss, so this bottom core, as I said in this case also, so this bottom core, this bottom line will be subjected to the tension, and this upper core will be subjected to the compression. So this bottom core is very important when we design this cord as a tension member. Similarly, these inclined members, they are alternating tension and compression. So if this one is in tension, or then this one will be in the compression. Similarly, next one will be in the tension. So all these inclined members, they are alternating in the tension and compression. Similarly, in case of suspension bridge, this cable is also in the tension. Also in case of truss, we use purlins. So to connect them, we generally use a sag rod. So this sag rod is also under the tension. So while connecting the purlins, we use this sag rod. So all these applications we can find for the tension members in the building. There are different cross sections that are being used as a tension member. So we will see that. So we use different types of cross section for the tension member. One can be angle section, T sections, and channel sections, square pipe, circular pipe sections. Then we can use as compound section also. In the compound section, we may use two or more than two sections. So like in this, we are using double angle system. In this, we are using double channel system. double angle system in different configuration. Then in this there are two channel system and they are connecting with this plate. Similarly, we can use built up section also. We can construct them using the built up sections. This threaded round bar, we have seen that it is used in the as a in the seg road. We may have flat bars. So flat bar cross section looks like this, and in the 3D it looks like this. So we can have flat bars. Similarly, this is the cross section of cable that we use in the, say, in the bridge case. So these are the cross section of suspension cables. So we will continue this discussion in the next part. Thank you.